You said you've travelled quite a bit. Where else have you
Mhm.
lived?
Moscow, Tbilisi, Riga.
How
I
was
was
your
in.
time in Moscow?
It was during the time of the coup attempt. Um, and I was in Soviet Georgia during the time that they had the revolution, the revolt against the communists there. I'm one of the few people who was born. I am a born American. I know some news agencies like to try and say I'm Russian somehow. I don't. Look at me, guys. Um, Literally, I've had college newspapers tell me he's Russian. No, I've lived in Russia. They're idiots. Anyway, uh, that was Binghamton University. Yes, I will call them out by name. Stupid. Anyway, um, but it's interesting because when I talk about socialism, I've gone to colleges to talk about socialism, First Amendment, Second Amendment. These are big issues for me. And when I go and talk about communism, it is almost always the case that the proponents who are saying socialism is great, communism is fantastic, this is a new world, we have the solution finally. Not one of them has ever lived in a socialist nation. Not one of them has ever like they maybe they've gone on a visit for a week, maybe 2 weeks as a vacation into a socialist nation, or they're like Jay-Z where they get the or Sean Penn where they get the gold ticket tour through the best of things, saying, see how wonderful this is now that we've arranged every single step that you're going to see. It's like the Olympics in Beijing. Oh, yeah, everything's fantastic. Everything's wonderful. Don't let those cameramen walk 2 steps off of the path that we have decided for them and show the world anything but what we have already set up. Communism is like that. And so I have this conversation. I've actually seen communism in its full effect. 75 years of communism, where I'm walking down the street and it is the most individualized dog eat dog system. Guys got vodka. You got extra pair of shoes, which you're going to trade for a pair of sugar, which will get you a bottle of vodka, which can get you a hell of a lot of other stuff. This is the trading system that individuals were going through. By the way, the government gave you the shoes, the sugar, and the vodka, but the commerce that individuals had to do to get the things they needed to live, like extra bread, that was how they had to survive. I remember having to wait for bread. You get up at 4:30 in the morning, the bread shows up at 5. By 6:30, the bread is gone. There is no more bread. The bread is all provided by the government. You have chits, or it may cost a couple of kopecks, and you can go in and get the bread. But again, it's only there from 5 to 6:30. Once that's done, there is no more bread, period, until the next day for anyone. I can remember I used to pay people. I was relatively rich in terms of rubles at the time. I was working for a private business there in Moscow. And I had someone who I was paying to go to the stores. They would wait on lines. 28 days out of the month, the store was empty. They had workers every day. Shelves are bare. There's nothing in the store for 28 days out of a month. Employees would go in, hang out, and talk to each other. This is in Moscow, the capital. I'm talking about the second ring of Moscow. Anyone who knows Moscow, there's 3 rings to the city. I'm in the second ring. I'm about 2 blocks away from, um, starts with an N. I just had his name in my mouth. Khrushchev, where he was living. Okay, I'm on Kutuzovsky. 33, 33 Kutuzovsky Doma. Yes, I speak Russian very badly nowadays. Learned it all while I was there. And so that's the address of where I was living, very close to where Khrushchev used to live. And it's about a mile or so away from their White House, where they had all the tanks rolling up, and I was there for tanks rolling up. Very interesting. And I can remember how there was pay people to wait on that line on the 29th day when the food all came in, everything came into the store. There'd be a line 6 hours long to get into the store to buy everything in the store right then and there, because aside from the stuff that's being sold in the black market out the back of the door, nothing else is going to be there a day later. 24 hours later, that store is empty again. Everything was bought. I have literally seen the first McDonald's in Moscow, first one in all of the Soviet Union. People would literally travel from Novogorsk 3 days on a train with their family to come to Moscow to wait on a line that was, if you know what a New York City block is, it's kind of like a London block. You're talking about like a 2-mile long line. It's wrapping around 3 different blocks. People were waiting on this line. It's like 6 hours long to go into a McDonald's to buy what we would buy anywhere in the rest of the world and to have a meal and then to get back on the train and go back home, because that was the family vacation. They spent all their vacation money, all their time to go to McDonald's. I would cut the line every day, spending 500 rubles, which is a crap load. That's like 4 months of, at the time, 4 months of income to cut the line to walk in with 100 people into the world's largest McDonald's. It's really stunning. To spend, I used to play a game. And these people loved working McDonald's because they get to take the extra food home to their family and friends and sell it off and just feed people. They loved, I've never seen people love working in McDonald's pretty much anywhere as much as they loved working there. It was godsend to them. It was stunning. First time I walked in, it terrified me. It was so scary seeing someone screaming at you with the pure joy in their heart saying, please come here. Let me serve you. Give me your order. Earnestly saying this. They believed it. They loved it. Walking on up to the cashier. I give the cashier my order. Fries, person's off, flying. They have 3 people at the cashier. One, boom, flying to get the fries. Another one, I mentioned the burgers. They fly, they get the burgers. I get the entire meal in front of me before I can get the change back for paying for the meal, because they were in love with what they were doing and they had it down. It was efficient. It was fantastic. People loved this. I would buy enough food for a family of 4, and it would cost me at the time less than $3 American. For enough food for a family of 4 anytime I wanted to. This was meaningless to me. It cost me to cut the line. It cost me $1 American, 500 rubles, 4 months rent. I bought enough food to feed 4 people because I wanted a snack. This was groundbreaking for them. That is communism. Imagine walking into a McDonald's, forget about everything else. When have you ever seen anyone excited to say, let me serve you in McDonald's? In fact, they don't even say that. You know, what's your order? They're not happy. They're not pleased. This isn't a thrill ride for them. Imagine the joy that someone would have to be experiencing to say, please, let me serve you. You've got 4 people screaming at you to come to their cashier station so that the 12 people standing behind them can go and run at full speed to fill your order, because they are in love with the fact that they are getting paid more and they are able to feed themselves, their family, their friends by working at McDonald's of all places. What kind of a hell did you wind up living in that is brilliant, that people were dying to get that job, that they were competing for this, that they were in love with this? This was a highlight of society at the time in the biggest city, approximately 4 million people, the capital of the Soviet Union, former Soviet Union, the Commonwealth of Independent States. This was their benefit. This was the greatest thing. Imagine that. And then remember, socialism is great. They've got the answer. Everything will be free. You will love it. It's the biggest lie I've ever heard. And there isn't a single, almost nobody, in fact, nobody who's ever lived in a socialist nation that I am aware of, that I have been present with, can stand there on a stage next to me and talk about socialism, actual socialism, that has lived it like I did for a year and a half, and be able to refute my damnation of socialism. They can't do it. They won't do it. And it's because it's not real. They have a pipe dream to sell, and the reality has nothing to do with it. It is evil. And I'm willing to go to any college campus anywhere in the world to have this conversation head to head with anyone who wants to tell me that socialism is great. Let's have that conversation. I've offered that to every politician in America. I offer that in colleges everywhere. Pay my travel, pay my food, and I will be happy to show up and have this debate. Please, let's talk about it. First thing, go over to a Soviet country, a socialist country, and actually live it for at least three months. Then come and talk to me about it.